Welcome to today's explainer. If you try to walk toward a wall, but you only go halfway with each step, you step halfway closer, then halfway closer again, and then again, technically, if you keep having that distance infinitely, you never actually touch the wall. Though, sure, your nose might get uncomfortably close. Well, math has these exact same kinds of invisible boundaries, and believe it or not, life does too. Today, we're going to unlock the mystery behind them.
Okay, let's dive straight into this. Here is a quick roadmap of what we'll be covering today. First, the invisible boundary. Then, why asymptotes matter. Next, finding the asymptote, followed by 3 quick examples. After that, we'll test your knowledge, and finally wrap things up with education with morality. Section 1, the invisible boundary. Let's figure out what an asymptote actually is. We're tackling a pretty big idea today regarding exponential functions. I want you to imagine a mathematical force field. In math, we literally call this an asymptote. Basically, an asymptote is incredibly special. It's a line that a graph approaches infinitely closely, but it never ever actually reaches or crosses it. Think of it like an invisible barrier for numbers. As a mathematical curve stretches out along a graph, it'll get closer and closer to this line. You could zoom in forever, but it will absolutely never touch it. Section 2, why asymptotes matter. Let's look at some real-world applications.
Now, you might be wondering, why do I even care about an invisible line I can't see? Well, understanding asymptotes actually helps us predict what a graph and the real world itself can and cannot do. Take a look at these examples. In science, we see this exact behavior in radioactive decay, where particles break down over time but never completely vanish. In economics, it shows up as a decreasing economic value that gets remarkably close to zero but rarely hits it perfectly. And in nature, think about a hot pizza cooling down on your kitchen counter. It gets infinitely closer to room temperature, but it's never going to drop below it. So the crucial point is that in all these cases, no matter how much time passes, the value gets incredibly close to its boundary but just doesn't cross it. Knowing where an asymptote is helps us sketch accurate graphs and understand the realistic long-term limits of our physical world.
Section 3, finding the asymptote. Time to spot those invisible lines. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the rule to spot these boundaries in an equation is actually incredibly simple to memorize. Let's look at the standard exponential function. F of x equals a times b to the power of x. For this standard setup, the horizontal asymptote is always just the line y equals 0. That's literally just the x-axis. But look at the shifted function. When we add a plus c at the tail end of the equation, that c acts kind of like an elevator. It shifts that entire invisible boundary line up or down, so your new horizontal asymptote simply becomes the line y equals c. That number tells you the absolute minimum or maximum y value the graph will ever approach. Section 4, 3 quick examples. Let's practice spotting that shift. All right, I'm going to run you through 3 rapid-fire problems just to build your confidence here. Here is example 1. F of x equals 2 times 0.5 to the power of x. Take a look at the very end of the equation. Is there a plus c hanging off the back? Nope. This graph gets smaller and smaller over time as it decays, but because there's no shift added to the end, it never hits 0. Therefore, the asymptote remains right at y equals 0. Okay, let's check out example 2. F of x equals 5 times 3 to the power of x, plus 4. Do you spot the difference? This graph grows incredibly fast. But notice that plus 4 at the end. That means its base level has been shifted straight up. The invisible floor it can't cross is now the line y equals 4. And finally, example 3, f of x equals negative 3 times 0.8 to the power of x. Now this one has a negative sign sitting right in front, meaning it completely reflects across the x-axis and actually decays downward. But look at the tail end of the equation again. Is there a number shifting it up or down? No, there isn't. So even though this function is completely flipped upside down, the asymptote remains perfectly parked at y equals 0. Section 5. Test your knowledge. Yep, it's pop quiz time. All right, it's your turn to shine. I'm challenging you to a quick brain teaser right now. You don't even need paper for this. Just follow along in your head and see if you can beat me to the answer. Question 1. What is the asymptote of f of x equals 4 times 2 to the power of x? I'll give you a second. Look closely at the equation. Did you find the invisible line? That's right, there is no shift at the end, so the asymptote is simply y equals 0. Let's try question 2. What is the asymptote of f of x equals 6 times 0.9 to the power of x plus 3? Try to spot the shift using the rule we just learned. You see that +3 right at the very end? Yup, you guessed it. Your asymptote is y equals 3. Moving right along to question 3, and this one is just a little bit trickier. Does f of x equals -2 times 0.5 to the power of x have a horizontal asymptote? And if so, what is it? Think back to our third example. Even with the negative reflection flipping the whole graph upside down, there is no +c shift at the end. So the answer is a resounding yes. It absolutely has a horizontal asymptote, and it is y equals 0.
Question 4 asked us to go just a bit deeper. Explain why y equals 0 is an asymptote for f of x equals 10 times 0.6 to the power of x. See if you can verbalize the y out loud. Well, the reason is that in a standard exponential function with no vertical shift, no matter how ridiculously large your x value gets, the total value will just get continuously smaller, approaching 0. But the math literally prevents it from ever actually reaching an absolute 0.
And our final test, question 5. In your own words, define an asymptote. Lock this foundational definition into your memory right now. If you said something along the lines of a line that a graph gets infinitely close to but never touches, then you are completely right, and you have officially mastered today's math lesson. Section 6, Education with Morality. Let's see how math connects to life. Let's move to our final segment and see how this builds into our personal growth. We're going to seamlessly transition from these math equations to real life. Read this with me. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. That's from Romans chapter 12, verse 16. And this brilliantly illustrates how mathematics can act as a mirror for our own lives. Just like an exponential curve powerfully approaches an invisible line without ever crashing through it, humility acts as our personal asymptote. It keeps us grounded and keeps us level, no matter how much we grow in life or how high our knowledge climbs.
This brings us to a vital philosophy from the Academy Godly Learners series. This curriculum emphasizes that intertwining biblical morality with education is absolutely necessary. It argues that pure intelligence just isn't enough on its own, because people often make disastrous choices when they lack a solid moral foundation. The series uses Romans 8, verses 6 through 7, to suggest that anchoring academics with a spiritual mindset provides a genuine peace of mind that a purely academic textbook alone simply cannot offer. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought for today's explainer. How will you use your invisible boundaries to stay grounded as you grow? You have these amazing capabilities to expand your mind infinitely, just like our mathematical curves. So keep reaching, keep growing, but never forget the humble foundation that keeps you steady. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep practicing those asymptotes, and I'll see you in the next explainer.